Hi, my name is Frank Rooke. I'm the lead game designer on Condemned: Criminal Origins. I have here Matt Allen. He's the lead artist on the project. He's going to run us through a little bit of the gameplay, and I'll discuss a little bit about what the gameplay is like playing this. What we have here is a first-person action game with a little bit of survival horror elements. And what we mean by that is that the pacing of the game is just a little bit slower, a little bit more methodical than what you would experience in a typical first-person shooter. Also, you don't necessarily run around with the gun blazing. You have opportunities to pick up weapons, debris weapons, and use them as melee. As you can see here, Matt pulled off a pipe. The AI also pulled off a pipe. And so the action really gets the player face to face with the AI, which is really great because the technology of the 360 allows us to do all kinds of fancy stuff with the textures, normal mapping, per pixel lighting, all kinds of shaders going at one time. So when we get up face to face with these enemies, it looks really great. We also have another component to this game, which we call the forensic investigation. It allows the player to track down a serial killer using all kinds of forensic tools. They can find evidence, collect it, send it back to the lab. Between the two guys, the player and the lab tech, you can determine what that evidence means. This propels the story, also propels the player objectively through the game. Matt here has found a piece of evidence on this locker door using a black light. Now we have like 6 different kinds of forensic tools that the player can use. The black light was just one of them. We also have like a sampler where you can collect the evidence. We're really trying to go for a very atmospheric game, taking advantage of the lighting and of the kind of textures that we can get through the Xbox 360. Another big component of our game is just the fear, the tension, the apprehension of what could happen next. The AI is very smart. A lot of times they don't just come running at you. They'll take advantage by hiding behind columns, jumping out and attacking the player. A lot of games in the past have taken advantage of that where, you know, they've scripted events where AI will jump out windows or around corners. We're trying to get the AI to do it dynamically. So every time you play this game, it will happen a little bit differently. Keep the player on edge, keep them a little unsettled about what could happen next. We supplement combat with firearms as well as a taser to make a very well-rounded combat system for the player to use. Matt, as you can see, this guy had a pipe. He saw that Matt had a locker door, which is a much superior weapon to the pipe. So he dropped that and went and got a locker door himself. They're very smart that way. Straight ahead we have, why don't you pick up that? Matt will demonstrate what it's like to use a taser, as well as checking your ammo, which is an important part of the game. Instead of just playing the ammo all the time, we leave it up to the player to keep track of how much ammo they have in the weapon. And you can't carry around ammo, there is no inventory. So when you pick up a weapon, you're limited to the ammo that's left in the weapon, either dropped by the AI or you've just found lying around. The taser is really handy, especially when you come across an enemy that has a firearm and you only have a melee weapon. It's a way to get the distance between the two close. So you zap the guy, he goes into a stun state, allows you to run up on him, steal the gun away from him, and use it on him. The story is about chasing down a serial killer, but a lot of times it pits the player in the middle of this kind of urban warfare between the police and very violent criminals. So right here we have an example of the police trying to take down a few violent criminals that are just running around this urban alley area. So the player's objective is not necessarily to kill all the street people, but it's more of an incidental situation, whether it's self-preservation. So down around the corner here, Matt will see some heavy-duty action, and the player's just caught up in the middle of this. So like I said earlier, our game is a little bit more methodical, procedural, but we have spikes of intensity where it's just really raw and brutal and in your face. The AI also are not very keen to each other, so they tend to fight each other also. So a lot of times a good strategy is just to stand back and let them take care of themselves. Well, that's pretty much wrapped up our condemned game. Thanks a lot for taking the time looking at it.